Okay, if you're an early career researcher, especially in a field like accounting, you know that getting published is the name of the game. But that first hurdle, the abstract and the introduction, can feel like the highest. So today, we're going to break down exactly how to master that crucial first impression.
So let's just start with the big, scary question, the one that probably keeps you up at night. Why do papers that you've poured months, maybe even years of your life into, get rejected so fast? It feels harsh, right? But there's actually a pretty straightforward reason.
And there it is. You have to stop thinking of your abstract and intro as just a summary. It's an audition. It's an advertisement for your paper. And if it doesn't immediately grab an editor and scream, hey, this work is important, it's original, and it's solid, well, they're just not going to bother reading the rest. Seriously, your paper's fate is often sealed in those first few hundred words.
All right, so let's talk about how to nail that audition, starting with the very first thing anyone will read, your abstract. This isn't just some box you have to check. It's probably the most powerful marketing tool you have for your entire study. The most important phrase in that whole definition is self-contained. Think about it. Someone should be able to read only the abstract and get the complete story of your research, just without all the tiny details. I really love this analogy here. The abstract is a window. It gives the reader a perfect, clear view inside, so they can decide if they want to open the door and come on in. So, how do you build this perfect window? Well, you follow a proven formula. Every great abstract has these 5 key ingredients, usually in this order. First, you start with the motivation, the big so what. Then you state the specific problem you're tackling. After that, briefly how you did it, your methods. Then, and this is crucial, you give them the key results. Be specific here, use actual numbers. And finally, you wrap it up with the conclusion. What does it all mean? It's your whole story, just in miniature.
Now, you'll usually see that story told in one of 2 ways. You've got your structured abstract, which has these nice, neat headings that make it super easy to scan. And then you have the unstructured abstract, which is way more common, where it all just flows together in a single paragraph. So what's the big takeaway here? There is no right way. You absolutely have to check the submission guidelines for whatever journal you're targeting. They'll tell you exactly what they want. And right below that abstract, you've got your keywords. Please do not treat these as an afterthought. Think of keywords as the SEO for your paper. You've got to put yourself in the reader's shoes for a second. What words would they actually type into a search bar to find a paper like yours? You can even use tools to see what terms are trending. And a pro tip, try to use words that are different from your title. You want to cast the widest net possible.
All right, let's move on to the introduction. So if the abstract was the quick, punchy ad, the introduction, that's the opening scene of the movie. It's where you set the stage, you introduce all the characters, the existing theories, the other studies, and you build up that suspense that your research is about to resolve. The absolute best way to structure an introduction is to picture a funnel. You start at the very top, the widest part. This is where you establish the big picture, the general research area. You're just getting the reader comfortable, showing them the landscape of the conversation they're about to join. Okay, next, the funnel starts to get narrower. This is where you start talking about the existing literature. But you're not just dropping a list of studies here. No, you're using them to build a case, to show what we already know, and then, more importantly, to point out what we don't know. You are strategically, deliberately creating a gap in our knowledge that just begs to be filled. And here it is, the final move. Right at the narrowest point of that funnel, you present your paper as the perfect solution to that gap. After you've so beautifully pointed out what's missing, you state your aim and show exactly how your work is going to fill that void. See what you did there? In just a few paragraphs, you've taken the reader from a huge topic right to the very front door of your unique contribution. This brings us to what is, honestly, the most important job of the introduction. You have to explain your paper's contribution. It's not enough to just say you filled a gap. You have to convince the reader that this was a gap worth filling in the first place. This is the ultimate so what test.
I absolutely love this quote because it forces you to completely shift your mindset. Your paper is not a diary of your research journey, it's about the destination. Readers care about the discovery, the new insight, the thing that we now know because you did the work. That's where the value is. So what does a real contribution look like, especially in a field like accounting? Well, it could be theoretical. Maybe you're challenging an old model. It could be practical, giving businesses insights they can actually use.
Or it could be professional, helping to shape the standards and policies that run the entire industry. A really great paper often manages to do more than one of these at once.
Okay, we've talked strategy for the abstract and the intro. Now let's get tactical. Let's do a little rapid fire round of the golden rules. What you absolutely should do and what you should never ever do. Okay, listen up because this is critical. First, and this one might feel a little backward, but trust me, always write your abstract last. It's the only way you can accurately summarize work that's already finished. Next, don't just copy and paste sentences from your paper. Your abstract needs to be an original piece of writing. Use clear language, ditch the heavy jargon, and please, include specific numbers, not weak claims like "our results were very significant." And finally, remember the abstract has to tell a complete story all on its own. That means no figures, no tables, and no references. So as we wrap this up, let's circle all the way back to that central idea we started with. Your abstract and your introduction, together, they are the window to your entire research project. They are the first and sometimes the only thing people are going to see. And that really leaves you with a final question to ask yourself about your own work. Is the opening you've written a nice, clean window that invites people in to see the amazing stuff you've done? Or is it a foggy, confusing, jargon-filled wall that just keeps them out? The choice and the opportunity is all yours.